You've seen Cillian Murphy face down the raw dog power of an atomic bomb, but now prepare for his greatest challenge. Them fucking nuns.
If you want to get on in this life, there are things you have to ignore.
Okay, so what do you do after winning an Oscar? Well, it's obvious, really. You try to win another one. Only Cillian Murphy had way too much of Florence Pugh's breasts in Oppenheimer distracting from him. So we're just going to take those silly things out and add in a fuck ton of nuns this time, yes. There was just so much not Cillian Murphy in Oppenheimer, so I figured this time we're just going to have a lot of long shots of Cillian Murphy looking like he's really just trying not to bust a nut. I mean, like, he looks like a no-fapper about to hit his 3-month streak. Like, it's tough times. The whole time he's just ready to... Cillian Murphy is the coal man. I like Cillian Murphy a lot, but there's nobody in the world that looks less like a coal man. This man, bordering on looking anemic, has been carrying bags of coal around for 20 plus years all day. Okay, it doesn't matter. He's the coal man in his town, and he finds out that there's some shady things going on at the nunnery next door. Not quite next door. In his town, there are all kinds of problems, and the nuns basically control everything, because, let's face it, I mean, you look at the film, you look at the buildings, you look at society in this film and stuff, and you're like, oh god, the way that the Catholic Church is controlling everything must be like the 30s, the 40s. It was 1985. It's just Ireland. Yeah, this is a very real problem going back many years in Ireland, and everyone kind of focuses on the priests and how terrible they are, but those nuns are awful too. They're just as, well, not just as bad. No, the priests did some pretty bad stuff. The nuns were also very controlling. Small Things Like These is just a really quiet film, and I say that having seen the trailer before I went in, and the trailer doesn't try to hide the fact this is going to be a slow, quiet movie. So that was my expectation, was, oh, slow, quiet movie, very great character performances, what I was going in expecting. This is what I got, but it was even slower and quieter than I was already expecting, which is impressive. And that is, it bordered on too much for me. It was getting close to the point where I was like, this is silly, how little is actually happening here, but and I also didn't expect quite as many flashbacks as we got. Cillian Murphy's like childhood in this, I didn't see how that was going to be relevant. By the end, I think I understand, but also he's just a quiet, simple man. He's got this nice family, and everyone's just trying to tell him, don't cause trouble with them nuns, because Jesus H. Christ, you don't want to cause any trouble with them feckin' nuns. And it's very important to see. Although the problem isn't really as prevalent, in Ireland like that today. It still is in other parts of the world with the Catholic Church, but it's more than that. At the end of the day, it's just a historical film about how you should speak up if you see bad things happening. I mean, like 70% of all historical films have the same point, but it's very well shown here, because I wouldn't say he's a totally typical guy in this. He seems to be a thoughtful, nice enough guy. Not like really well educated or anything, not at all. But he seems to just be a good person. And yet, he gets bribed by these nuns. Everyone around him is telling him to stay quiet, so he does for the longest time. And I guess it's more to see how it happens. How maybe good people or, just not bad people let these bad things happen. And in doing so, do they become bad people themselves? I don't really know. I like it, but I don't love it. I feel like it is on Cillian Murphy. You get some Oscar-y type films like this, and I don't know if this is really going to be up for any Oscar buzz or not. Cillian Murphy makes this film. I think without him in that leading role, hitting that performance quite as perfectly as he does, it would be a bit crap. Honestly, not like terrible, but I don't think the writing or directing or the rest of the cast is coming off as strong enough to really make much of this if the leading performance wasn't as great as it was. I think it's a good film. I don't feel the huge need to rewatch it again. You can't just set it around Christmas and expect me to turn it on every year. Mostly. But I'm giving Call Things Like These out. Call them out, yeah. Speak up. 3.5 stars. Movies about the church in Ireland always have the potential to just be the funniest thing in the world to me. This one, no, not really, no. Anyway, here's where I go ahead and suggest that you should subscribe and make some plea about how horrible my childhood stuck in Ireland with the Catholic Church was. Meh.